recorded live. There are, I think, 2 overdubs on all the 5 songs. One was a tambourine on a highway cruise, and the other one was also on a highway cruise. Jim wanted to overdub a bass line somewhere, but we set up in this great studio that Duke knows, Middleville Studios. His friend Chris Rival, who I've also known for 20-something years, has a great room just north of Boston. And we sat down and we played live. And in fact, the version of the song, The Ballad of a Burglar, that made the final cut was actually the rehearsal take. It was so good that we said, man.
That is Johnny Be Good. You know, that's got it all Chuck Berry going. The minute you hear that, right off the bat, sir. And by the way, congratulations. Yeah, go ahead. Congratulations on your CD release party you had just last Friday, too.
Yes, thank you. It was very successful. A lot of people came, sold a bunch of CDs. So I actually sold a bunch of physical CDs at the gig, but sold a bunch online as well. But that's actually The Ballad of a Burglar is another example of the songwriting process that I went through that, once again, I've been at this for a long time now, about 35 years. In fact, this summer is 40 years ago this summer I started taking formal guitar lessons, even though I was screwing around with the guitar a little bit before I actually had a real lesson. So kind of celebrating that anniversary too. But I decided that all the songs I always write are autobiographical and are about something that has happened to me. So I decided to try to just sit down and write some fiction, something that is completely untrue. And I wrote those words because my wife doesn't make me go rob the store to get her food. And I actually started that one out in more of a Delta blues tradition, kind of like a Son House or like the Walkin' Blues classic 12-bar thing. And then I started messing around with it and went, this would actually translate to that Chuck Berry roots rock, which I love because my parents met in college in the mid-1950s, and my mom had all those 45s from Sun Studio and Chess and had all. She loves Chuck Berry and that the 50s rock and roll, and that's the kind of music that I heard in my house as I was growing up as a little kid in the mid-60s and 70s.
Yeah, that's a great tune. I'll tell you what, let's go to that right now. The Ballad of the Burglar. J.P. Reali is my fabulous guest. Here we go. Thanks. Be right back.
Liquor stores, I'm tired of running for my life. Tired of riding shotgun, tired of stealing for my wife. She wakes me every morning just to send me out to the store. She wakes me every morning and send me out to the store. She tells me you don't need a credit card, just don't forget your 44. If the cops, they're gonna come. I'm always looking in the mirror thinking, sonny boy, you better run. Tell me, pretty mama, what am I supposed to do? Tell me, pretty mama, what am I supposed to do? You're gonna get me busted trying to prove my love is true. This is the story of an outlaw who'll be running for the rest of his life. This is the story of an outlaw who'll be running for the rest of his life. This is the ballad of a burglar trying to get away from his wife.
We are back. The Ballad of the Burglar. JP Reali is my guest. And, we were just talking, Magoo's kind of on the injured reserve list. I don't think I'm the first one ever got hurt in teaching music class, eh? That might
I think maybe somebody may have gotten a symbol to the shin or something at some point, but I don't know.
Anybody with the name Magoo, and who Magoo, he does fall down and sometimes, but so is life. But thanks again.
But he's lovable.
It's lovable, that's right. And, that name just comes from a big fan of The Who, and Magoo is my nickname in high school, like, oh, Magoo, you've done it again. So that kind of fits. I'm not even kidding you. I've fallen through piers, things happen. It usually happens to me. So that's kind of that. And back to that awesome tune, that Chuck Berry theme-ish kind of song, The Ballad of the Burglar. Yeah, that's about a gentleman, a gangster, and he's got to put up with the gangster wife, hey? Kind of reversed roles a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like about a guy who he's bummed out because the only way his wife will love him is if she goes down to the store and robs whatever she wants. It could be a bag of groceries or it could be a pair of diamond earrings, and she's like, go out and get me something. You don't need your credit card. Don't forget your 44. And it's fictional.
Yeah.
So I forget where we left off. Did I talk about this before you played the song?
Yeah, we jammed a little bit about that, and
we jammed, so it's not true.
We don't want to get into all that, like it's it's a bio or whatever. But the neat thing with your artistry in the songs, you can kind of come from those different angles and come out of your shell, should I say? Because so many things we were talking about, Woody Guthrie and your Dwayne Allman and all the people that you've looked up to, because you have a real. Besides that one song, The Burglar, you have a real theme for patriots or people, and it's a deep thought music, should I say.
Yeah, I don't intentionally set out to do that, but one of my favorite songwriters of all time is the late, great Jim Croce of Bad Bad Leroy Brown fame, and the characters that he created in all his songs have stuck with me forever. We were talking during the break about how I grew up in a musical home, and my parents are music lovers, and my dad, even to this day, he's 83. His birthday was yesterday, Monday. He was 84. He's 83. He's still a huge Jim Croce fan. And they got his music when he was alive. Of course, he died, I think it was 1973 or 74.
Yes.
And we always listened to those records, and just every single one, I know what Bad Bad Leroy Brown looks like. And Speedball Tucker is another one of his characters, and Rapid Roy, the stock car boy. I can see those guys in my mind.
Right.
The descriptiveness of his music was tremendous. And in fact, specifically in the song you just played, The Ballad of the Burglar, I used that also because Chuck Berry's descriptiveness in his music is impeccable. And I wrote these lyrics and went, okay, you know, every song I write goes through several incarnations, and I literally read every word many, many, many times and try to find the best word. And I don't sit there with a thesaurus, but I'm not afraid to go to use one if I need to. I try to find the perfect word to describe what I'm trying to convey to the listener.
Yeah, and, you know, speaking of Jim Croce, I just posted yesterday Time in a Bottle, and I haven't seen that or heard that in a long time, and I'm also from your generation, or should I say, you know, late 50s. Yeah, is it Time in a Bottle or Message? I think it's Time in a Bottle. Is that not the...
Yeah, Time in a Bottle was one of his big hits.
And to sit there and to hear that tune nowadays, you know, and then it showed the video of him and his son. So it's very much so. You know, those are the music that touches our soul, and that's what you're trying to present now with the Highway of Cruise.
Right. And it's kind of interesting because I always thought Jim Croce's music was Bad Bad Leroy Brown is kind of a barrelhouse piano bluesy song, and Time in a Bottle is a tender ballad. And he wrote songs to write songs, and he was, I guess, considered a folk musician, but some of his stuff is flat out rock, and some of it has strings like Time in a Bottle, and some of it is a little overproduced in my opinion, but that's the way they were doing records in the early 70s. And so this collection of songs, to me, seems a little eclectic, although there is a common thread that it's American music. So you played The Ballad of the Burglar, which is classic 50s Chuck Berry style rock and roll. The title song, A Highway Cruise, is, I would call it blues rock. Some people have called it southern rock. I think it sounds southern rock because of the way the musicians played on it, the solos and stuff, and the lap steel guitar. It's actually not bottleneck guitar. But that's a song that came about, I wrote in 1986, about an incident I was having with a female friend of mine, and I decided that it needed to be revisited. And at the time when I wrote it, you mentioned that I'm influenced by Duane Allman, and I have been, although I never got to see him play. I was too young. I wrote that when I wrote A Highway Cruise in 1986. There was no Allman Brothers band, so the band I was in at the time, we used that as kind of our launching pad for extended jams, a la Allman Brothers style, because the band had broken up, and Greg was playing solo, and Dickie was playing solo, and a couple of other guys had some other things going, but I wanted to hear that type of playing and that tone of guitar, so I wrote that song, and I rewrote a couple of the verses for the new album to make it more modern and to make it more about a topic that's on everybody's mind today, and that's the topic of immigration in this country.
Yeah, you know, you hit on that before. My view on that is that's the problem that's been going around the world. Immigration has been moving forever, and they build walls forever. If you go back to history,
right.
When are you ever going to find a place that encompasses and then welcome? I don't know. It's continuing forever, should I say, in one form or the other. You know,
right? And it's that's right. And people want to come to America because it's a great place, and nobody's immigrating or emigrating to Iran or North Korea or Russia or China, or, I mean, obviously there are other countries that people are moving to, but America is the land of opportunity, and you can come here with nothing, like my grandfather, who spent several months in quarantine at Ellis Island in New York and made a better life for his family and the subsequent generations after.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I talked to A.G. Weinberger a couple weeks ago. Now, he was in Romania way, and he was talking about, you know, America, the last way stop in the world. I mean, It's kind of the last place the people that want to go to is what he was saying at this point.